Now this, guys, you know this one. This is the normal Proxxon, yeah? But this, behold, the custom-made Proxxon XXL. Let's see if it works. Well, guys, here we have two Proxxons, and some of you might already have seen this large beast on the internet, because I showed it some years ago on a German YouTube channel, but I never really took the time to explain this large monster. But before I dive into this one, you know the basic one, and if you know the basic one, you also know that you have roughly 5.5 inch to work with in height. And many of you have this issue the same as I have, and that's problem with the height. You are very limited. So I always wanted to have a larger one, and this is 5.5 inch, 12 plus 5. So this is 17 inch, more or less, give or take. I like to show this tool. I want to explain it and give you the pro and all the cons that comes with this machine. So yeah, let's do it. Well, before I switch the machine on and try to make some cuts, let me explain a bit. The normal Proxxon has a power unit built into it, which is a weak power, not that powerful, because it only needs a specific kind of power to heat this 6-inch piece of wire. Since this is 3 times the height, it needs a lot more power. So this is why the power bank underneath, I will show you, is disconnected. And the 2 wires that come out of this power bank, one goes in the arm, the big U-shaped arm, and the other one goes where you attach the wire underneath. You can see the 2 wires, they are loose, and from the original power bank, and you see from these 2 points, the metal bars, that the wires go to these 2 outlets that are made in front of the machine. The reason for this is, if you work with this height, you need a lot more power. So we have a separate, I call it a power unit, which you can manually regulate. And here we have the 2 plugs to plug it all in. So that's a thing you need to know. As soon as you will enlarge the machine, if you make it higher, you will need more power. When it comes to the element at the rear, I will talk about that in a moment. But first, I will plug it in and see if it works. Now I do, every now and then I get questions about this machine when people see it in workshops, or when they see one of the older YouTube videos where it appears, where it briefly appears. And it's always like, can I buy it? Can you make me one? Do you have the drawings, etc., etc.? Well, sorry to say, it's no, no, no. And it's not because I don't want to, but I cannot. Sorry, I cannot. And the reason is quite simple. The whole idea of making this bigger, that was my wish. So that is something I actually went shopping. I went shopping and I found a former colleague who is a professional metal worker and also an electrician. So he was able to actually make all the metal work custom. The only thing is that I can show you how it looks like, and if you are interested, I think you should follow, or you could follow, the same path as I did by simply showing a craftsman this design and ask him or her, can you please, are you able to produce something like this? In the end, basically, the whole base of the machine hasn't been altered, and the shape you see here underneath is the same as the where the metal bar is coming out, and exactly that what I had envisioned. Here you see, by the way, here's the metal bar. So this metal bar has been cut off here, and the rest piece, well, that's here on the top. So nothing was thrown away, it was simply separated. And this basic part here was then accommodated by 2 sheets left and right of this aluminum, I think. But again, as you can see, it is also here very well fastened, because there was this angle being welded on it. Yeah, it's welded. And in the end, again, you see it's all being fastened using, I believe there are really metal screws. Yeah, they are. So in any form or in any shape, you need a metal construction that is very solid attached to the base. I think it has to be double, and yeah, so that's one thing. Then, and this is an important one, when you look at this part, you see it is going downwards, and if I press it, you will see I can press it down, and here it comes out. Now there is a spring going all the way down, and it's quite a strong spring that pulls the whole bar up. And the reason for this is that this wire there has to be a lot of tension on this wire, and you know probably that if you switch on the machine and the wire gets hot, metal will expand. And we will do a close-up when I switch it on, and then you can see what happens with this. But that's something for later. So you need, and that's also a thing that's very important, you need a construction where this part is able to move up and down, but then again also being pulled by a large spring, so you always keep this tension. And again, the reason for this will be clear as soon as I switch it on. 2 more things. This wire is twice as thick as the original one, and the reason is simple. A lot more heat will be produced using this machine, and there is a lot more tension on the wire. So you need to have the same type of wire as you have for the Proxxon, but simply it has to be twice as thick. Final thing, it works. Yeah, I'm confident it works, but I think it's also a dangerous machine. Dangerous in a way that if the wire snaps. And if it would break down here somewhere, then this piece of metal will jump up, and that will make the rest of the wire swirl in the air. And if you are focusing and you are close with your face to the machine, imagine what can happen with this thin wire sweeping all over the place. So I wear protection glasses when I work with this machine. Okay, it's time to hook it up and try to do some cutting. I guess we are ready to do some cutting. I have a block of foam, 14-inch high, and as you can see, this is my normal guider, but I made an extension for it, especially for this machine. So this is the guider XXL, I guess. Okay, I put on my safety goggles. Okay, so now I switch the machine on, and when I do it, it might take some time, but when the wire is getting hot, see what happens. I will put this measure and look here, look here. So you can see a specific number maybe, but see what happens when the wire gets hot. So there we go. Again, it may take some time. And there he goes. I'm not sure if you saw it, but the whole wire is now roughly 1/5 of an inch, 5 millimeters longer, since it's hot now. I'm not sure if it's hot, but we'll try and figure it out. So time for me to stand up, so much easier for me to cut. This is quite a large piece, so this takes some time. At some point I suggest that Ruben will do a fast forward, but let's see. Here we go. Now mind you, since this is a very long wire, and yes, a lot of heat is coming from it, I do move the block rather slowly. It cannot go any faster, and that simply has to do with the size of the block in combination with the heat of the wire. So you have to be patient. This first cut is actually nothing more or less than a cut for removing the coating. So this first sheet we throw away, but then we can adjust the fence and start cutting sheets. And as you can see, there's a lot of smoke coming from it, really a lot of smoke. So I do suggest, and yes, don't get me wrong, we now do it inside because it's cold, it's rainy, but normally I will use this machine only outside. But anyways, now this is a very nice sheet, although, yeah, well, there's coating on it, but you can see, well, as you can see, it cuts really nice and really smooth. So let's try one more. Let's try and cut one sheet that's roughly 1/5 of an inch, give or take. And with this height, it's of course also very important that the whole fence is well aligned with the wire, which it is. So, okay, put it on again. There we go. Okay, so a very nice 1/5 of an inch sheet, 14-inch high and 28-inch long. Okay, so as you can see, it works. Machine is off, and as I already said, let's talk about the pro and the cons. Well, let's start with the positive thing. Yes, you are actually able, with a build like this, to do sheets this big. So that's awesome. And that's the only plus. Otherwise, I don't see any pluses. There are a lot of minuses. First of all, the investment to get this all done. I mean, this was a job, this was done by a very skilled former colleague of mine, and he did it for free. But then again, you need the materials, obviously, and you need this power bank or this power unit, which I think was a couple of €100. So in all, it's quite an investment in order to cut larger sheets. And there is this more or less safety issue. I cannot point this out clearly enough, maybe, but you really have to be careful working with a machine like this. Again, knowing that when the wire breaks, you can really get, there really can be some damage. So, yeah. Okay, this is it. Sure, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Again, I am not a metal worker, I'm not a technician, but if I can, I will help out. Anyways, I hope this all made a little bit of sense, and yeah. You will see this machine being used more often now, especially since I'm working on my Minas Tirith project, where I need big sheets because I'm working on big walls. But that's a story for another day. So thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe or whatever, and see you soon. Okay.